Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the BioTouch Healing Health Condition Workshop. And this week we're talking about breastfeeding. My name is Paul,
Good evening. This is Bev.
and we have a very special guest with us. She's going to tell you all the things she does. It's amazing. Toni Curtis is with us, and she actually took our training quite a few months ago, and she just loves what she does, and she's going to love talking to us today about breastfeeding. So, Toni, we're just going to give it to you. You take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Paul and Bev. I'm so excited. As you will soon see in just a couple minutes, I love maternal health. It is my passion. Just a little bit about me. I am a certified birth doula. I'm actually a full spectrum doula, lactation counselor, childbirth educator. Kind of indicates I kind of like maternal health. So I absolutely adore the birth process, but there are some parts of it that we kind of overlook because we just don't know that they're important. And it's a small step, but it has big impact. And for a lot of mothers, they want to breastfeed their babies. So I want to kind of give you an overview of the foundational things that need to happen to make that happen for you, and even some pitfalls that you run into and you had no idea that that was what the problem was and why it was hard for you to breastfeed. So one of the things I want everyone to know is that breastfeeding has these two big hormones that run the entire party. Prolactin, which is that pro milk, that milk building hormone, and oxytocin. That's the hormone that runs labor, that lets the milk down, that helps you cope with labor and birth and everything related to it. So, another big thing that has to happen or should happen, unless there's a medical reason for it to not happen, is for you to be skin to skin with your baby. The foundation of breastfeeding after birth that leads to higher rates of success is that skin to skin moment when that baby has come into this world. It's a surreal feeling that you can't even explain. But once you feel it, you know it's necessary. It travels through your body and it starts the lactation process, at least step two. Step one happened when you were pregnant. Step two happens after your baby is born. During that time, your baby is just coming online, acclimating to this new world. They don't know about breastfeeding, but they know they want to do it. It starts with skin to skin. It doesn't start when you nurse, but instead when you hold your baby. Once you hold your baby, that baby starts to become alert, curious, somewhat aware, maybe relaxed, because there are 9 stages that babies have to go through. While that is happening, your body is acclimating. During that time, that skin to skin, that foundation, we know without a doubt from a lactation medical perspective that skin to skin is the foundation. Guess what that means? It's touch. It's when we touch each other that begins. So it helps the transition, not just for baby, but for mom. During that time, blood pressure and temperature and all of these other metabolic processes begin to function for mom and baby in the new state that they're in. One, a mother who's just given birth, and two, a baby that has just been born. It allows the baby's instincts to come online. And believe it or not, babies can actually baby crawl and self latch. They didn't actually need your help, but it's okay to guide them. The other big thing is when you're breastfeeding, one of the biggest pitfalls that people don't realize is its latch. How the baby latches to the mother will determine how well that baby transfers milk. It also determines how much milk you're going to properly produce. The other thing is frequency. It is not easy in the very beginning when you're breastfeeding to have to get up every 2 to 3 hours for almost 2 months. This little one is going to nurse that often. So It takes support. You need support when you're trying to breastfeed. So now we have baby, we have latch, but I'm gonna tell you why that's important. In order to have enough milk for your baby, you have to nurse your baby frequently. It is the stimulation of the nursing at the nipple that actually makes milk production, that tells your body how much milk to make. Every time your baby nurses, that baby is communicating with your body. However, there are a couple things that people don't know that can happen in a hospital birth in particular, and that is medication. Some of those medications interfere with the body's natural oxytocin, which is what lets that milk out of your body. It may make you drowsy. It may make it so that that foundational period you weren't alert. Maybe you had an emergency and there was a C-section. Well, even in a C-section, we can do skin to skin in the OR, but someone has to know that it's important for you to do it so you can breastfeed. But when we delay these things, it also delays the body's reaction to needing to breastfeed because it's still waiting on the baby. Now, when oxytocin is not able to move freely through the body, then we run into some problems with that baby getting that milk right away. Here's the good news. Babies are prepared for this. In the first 24 hours, they only need just enough to coat their mouths. They don't actually need like an ounce of milk. They just need a little bit. And it is colostrum. It is this powerful packed substance that will satisfy baby and give them what they need. And a lot of times the confusion comes with, oh my God, my baby must be hungry, because they start this thing called cluster feeding 24 hours after they're born. They are trying to help your body and you make enough milk. Your baby is not starving. Your baby is actually telling you and your body what you need. So that's where support comes in, because the minute you breastfeed, you get sleepy. Oxytocin makes you sleepy. So now you're breastfeeding, you're already tired, and now you're really tired because you're breastfeeding. So no one's explaining this. This is where your support comes in. There are professional lactation counselors like myself, birth doulas that can come along and support you, and lactation professionals that are likely in your hospital. Things you want to look for in your hospital is a term called baby friendly. Baby friendly is specifically talking about breastfeeding. It is not talking about the birth. Sometimes we get that confused. It is talking about keeping your baby with you and following the guidelines that the World Health Organization has set for breastfeeding to encourage it, to discourage child abandonment, and improve health outcomes. Because we are in the middle of a little thing going on called the maternal health crisis. However, it is quickly changing the more you educate yourself and you get involved in things like this. So that's a lot of information. I know. I try to make it simple, but it's important for you to know. Baby friendly is about breastfeeding. It is about not marketing things to you that would interfere with breastfeeding. Making sure that the environment is set up for you to be successful, and allowing you to have the support that you need in the hospital to be successful. So those things are really important. But lastly, professional lactation counselors. It becomes very daunting when we don't know if our baby has had enough to eat. We think we know. We think the baby's on. We don't know if the baby's on. Something's happening. I think I'm nursing. I thought I did a good job. My nipple hurts. What's a soft palate? Where exactly is that? I think I know what that is. We understand. We do not expect you to have mastery of that. We had to go to school for it. So we don't expect you to just come out and immediately know all of those things. We are here to come and help you. Here at BirthWise, we have a 100% breastfeeding rate for our minority mothers. For Black mothers, the national average is about 24%. We want you to breastfeed if you want to breastfeed. It is available to you, but it does need a couple extra little steps, some additional hands, and probably a lot of support, because taking care of a new baby is not always the easiest. So I hope I made the breastfeeding journey a little bit easier. And just because I'm me, I just want to recap real quickly to make sure you didn't miss it or make it a little concise. First step, after birth, immediate skin to skin. Allow your baby to go through the 9 stages of awakening and allow your body to transition from giving birth to now a mother who's going to be nursing a baby. Second, look for baby-friendly hospitals. Baby-friendly hospitals have staff and a plan to support you. One big thing I did forget, while you're pregnant, go to a breastfeeding education class. Don't let the birth of your baby be the first time you heard about the things that surround breastfeeding. And lastly, get support. Birth doulas, lactation counselors, childbirth educators, we are all here to support your maternal health journey because we know it needs it. You probably aren't in a position to remember every detail of everything you learned while you were pregnant. A lot of us have a little bit of brain fog when we're pregnant, so things to consider, right? So I hope that made it much, much simpler. Frequency is the key to milk production. And I always remember something at the last minute. There is no magic cookie for milk production. There are things that we can do to help, but prolactin is found in frequent nipple stimulation. That means you got to nurse your baby or hand express, but it is necessary to make enough milk for your baby. You can't pump it. You can pump, but you may not pump enough. And that's another pitfall because there's a second hormone that has to be released. Okay. I hope I made it easier. I hope you feel like you can do it. I know you can do it. If not, look for us. We'll help you.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, if you need to get hold of Toni, it's birthwisedoulas.com. It's right there on the screen. If you're hearing this on a podcast, birthwisedoulas.com. Toni, you are an awesome presenter.
You are.
Well, thank
Yes.
you.
I mean, I've never had to nurse, and I was just taken by what I'm just like, oh, I just was. It's like, oh, I want to do
Everything's
that.
gonna be okay.
Yeah, you are
It'll be
awesome.
okay.
So let me ask you something. So you took the BioTouch class,
Yes.
and is that something that you would encourage mothers to do with baby, or the other partner to work with the mother or the baby? Because it's skin to skin with BioTouch too. So
Yeah.
how would you
Absolutely.
see it working?
I think that BioTouch has a huge opportunity in breastfeeding in regards to that recovery after being given medication.
Hmm.
We're always trying to get that body back in balance, that nice homeostasis, that body balanced, nourished feeling. But sometimes we have things on board because we're doing hospital births and they actually interfere with that pituitary function, that oxytocin, those endorphins that allow for milk to let down, or it interferes with production. So allowing people to recenter, I mean, we as birth doulas always use something to help with centering, breathing, touch, massage,
Hmm.
would really help. And if we can deal with
Interesting.
those things to help people kind of flush it out and allow their bodies to start responding after given certain medications, that would be amazing. I think that's where BioTouch could definitely help.
So we have
You
a.
know,
Go
I
ahead.
always seem to go to the family with BioTouch, and as you were talking, you're talking skin to skin, and the metabolic process. in that, the frequency. And I was thinking, wow, you know what? BioTouch would be a perfect match for the husband to be able to do BioTouch at home with her,
Mhm.
you know, as part of her, seeking advice from professionals, but at home for sure. The whole family could help, at least the husband could help her by
Yeah.
just doing a couple of simple
Yeah.
points.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
But let's not forget that the husbands are going through a huge hormonal change as well.
yeah.
Absolutely right.
So they
Yeah.
need some balancing too. You
So
know, we have about 1 in 8 men suffer from postpartum mood disorders after babies are born.
interesting.
I'm not surprised. I
Interesting.
am not surprised. We don't think about that, do we? But
Right.
when we think about that family unit, we we got to extend that box and include
Hmm.
everybody because it's a life-changing event for everybody in that family.
So
Yeah.
we have a question here. Could you pump and hold the baby for better stimulation, or is that too hard?
No, it is a bit of a juggling act. As a mother who has done that, it's interesting. Absolutely. Whenever you hold a baby skin to skin, you release oxytocin. So you're going to get more of that letdown when a baby is skin to skin with you. And if you actually do nipple stimulation before you start pumping, you're going to get better milk production.
Makes
So
sense.
absolutely. We do that
Yeah.
a lot with babies that go into the NICU,
Mm.
that are too small to nurse at that point. We do that. We have them pump while, if they want to, we have them pump while they're holding their babies.
Wow.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we're going to then teach a few sets of points here that people can use. We had another midwife took our class who talked about they felt BioTouch actually raised oxytocin levels too. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. The skin to skin wins. It's like
Yeah, right.
we actually did a research project with that, and they did touch healing, and they did it through clothes, and then they did energy kind of work off the body, and
Hmm.
overwhelmingly the people loved the touch on the skin, overwhelming.
Hmm.
Touch.
So we like your
Absolutely.
message, skin to skin
Yes,
from the
it's
time you come out. I love
oh
it.
my gosh, so important. So important.
All right.
Yeah.
Again, Toni Curtis, she's with BirthWise Doulas.com. And I'll tell you, there's no better person to help you through this process. Doesn't matter where you live, you can contact her at that,
Yep.
and she'll Zoom with you or work with you or guide you to where you can get help in this awesome experience called birth. All right. Toni, we
Thank you,
appreciate it. Thank
Toni.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.